Hello and welcome to Box to Board. Now tonight we're going to be looking at our old friend, the Expanse Roleplaying game again, and basically what we're going to do, this is Malcolm, and he's recently we've gone through, I DM'd and Malcolm was part of the party, going through the introductory mission on this, and we're just going to chat about it and see where we go. So, Expanse. What's your exposure to the Expanse? What have you?
I know it comes from books.
Yeah.
But I've not read any of the books.
Yeah.
So my exposure's come from the TV series. If anybody watching this ruins season 4 for me, I will kill them. I've got up to the spoiler alert. I've got up to the discovery of the wormhole bit.
Yeah.
So I need a weekend to catch up. But that's my main kind of exposure to it.
Cool. Because it's a funny universe, and if you haven't watched the TV series, number one, where have you been? Really just go, just stop this video and go and watch it, and then come back because you won't regret it. It's a very different universe to a lot of sci-fi. It's a good hard sci-fi that's, I think when we were talking, it was gritty.
Gritty, yeah.
Do you think this captures it? Do you think this feels like The Expanse?
It does, yeah. Because there's no kind of frills to it. It reflects the universe in the right way to the different characters, the different sort of groups and the characters within that. And you know, it doesn't sort of have all this marvelous technology so that you might find in some of the other role-playing games. You're not sort of running around with sort of laser guns and sort of pulse rifles and things like that. It's kind of got that gritty feel that you get from it, sort of particularly sort of with the belters and the fact that things are cobbled together for a lot of it, and you know, there are areas where there is money, there's areas where there aren't money, and it kind of does cater for all of that, and obviously it means you can set it in whichever way you want to, or combine it. So
you don't feel as, one of the things that really struck me was it doesn't feel like the kind of game where you're trying to get so much loot to buy that particular weapon that will be awesome. There's kind of fairly standard weapons. There's not a lot of choice around those. It's a lot more about the story than the stuff.
Obviously, I'm not going to ruin any of the initial mission, but my character within it started off with a nice pistol and has acquired several more on his travels, shall we say? May or may not have come from live people. So he's acquired those, and actually the stats are basically the same. They're interchangeable. I think there is a mechanic to kind of make it a little bit more powerful, a little bit more money, but it's not like your Dungeons and Dragons where you're going, right, I want to save up enough money to get a magic sword and things like that. You're actually more focusing on the survival element of it and sort of the day-to-day stuff, rather than sort of say the accumulation of wealth to get a particular item. Yeah,
I think that's definitely the case. It sort of feels like I'm going to survive. We're going to get through this. We're going to figure out what the heck's going on here. The thing I've noticed with this is it feels like a really nice balance between investigation style thing, trying to work out the political side of stuff, and then there is combat in it.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier on the combat. It's pretty brutal.
it's short. You're not hacking away for 6 rounds.
No.
It can end swiftly.
Yeah, very. In the case that we had, very swiftly at one point, which was, you know, we'll come back to this, but that was to do with stunts.
Yeah.
And stunts are infuriating and awesome at the same time, I think, in some ways. Certainly as a GM, but we'll come back to them. We'll talk about them in a bit of detail. But did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it. Yeah. I think because it's not your traditional kind of hack and slash game, and I think you'd actually struggle to make it hack and slash.
Yeah.
I think when we spoke earlier, I said you could make it into your dungeon crawl kind of shoot, go to the next room. What happens? You shoot someone. Go to the next room. What happens? You shoot somebody. You could make it that, but actually the rule set doesn't.
It doesn't want you to.
No, it doesn't want you to.
And it would be a fairly dull thing because it would be like, shoot somebody, literally. Whoever's getting the initiative, they shoot somebody, there's just a fair chance they'll die.
Yeah.
If they hit them, and then you'll move on to the next one. It's going to be a dull game.
Go and play your Space Hulk from Warhammer or something like that.
Do something that you'll enjoy.
This I think lends it more to kind of the role playing element. And I don't necessarily mean like the silly voices or anything else like that, but the more of the talking. You're trying to find something out, and coming back to the thing of you're not after like a particular magic weapon or anything else like that. You actually you've got something tangible that you've got something tangible going after you. Is it information? Are you trying to find somebody? Are you trying to achieve a goal or you may be trying to blow something up, but actually the whole thing about
it's the mission.
It's the mission, not and sort of the blowing something up won't be sort of like rolling dice or anything else like that. It'll be did you achieve your mission or not. So I think it lends itself more to that role playing thing and actually working as a group. Because we've got in our session we've got about 3 or 4 players, and unlike unfair comparison, but unlike Dungeons and Dragons, where you can often get one who is quite tanky and sort of just because you've got the combat, just plough through it, and kind of it becomes sort of a bit more focused on them. You have to work together. If you don't work together, you're not going to get it.
You're not going to get anywhere at all in that game if you don't work together. It is interesting from the point of view you kind of need a critical mass for a party. Because you need a fairly broad set of skills to make the game work well. Because the missions are they're action, but they're not. But that's not. It's not about the action. It's not about fighty, killy. And one of the things that's kind of has really become apparent is it's quite a mature game. This is not something that you're going to want to play with your kids because it involves terrorism. Is a part of it. The OPA fundamentally are nasty people, maybe with valid issues, but they've done nasty things. I mean, there's no question about that. And there's a few sort of moral ambiguities, shall we say.
We mentioned prejudice as well.
Prejudice. There's everybody seems to have a problem with each other at some level. And it's a bit of it's a very gritty, very mature world. But the flip side of that is the violence isn't something you go, yay! It's like we got to do this to get to this point. This has to happen to get to that point.
It's still fun.
It is still fun, but it's kind of not about it.
No,
it's not a hack and slash. I guess what we're trying to say. It's like the Expanse is. When the first time you watch it, you go, oh look, this is happening. It's quite brutal. And then after a while, you go, yeah, it's brutal, but it's not just in terms of violence. It's not just in terms. It's a universe that's tough, and actually the stories are tough. It's not. It's a very good experience, I think. We have got some notes, but we try to keep them out. We're professional. We try to keep them out of camera. So mechanics wise, should we do it? Let's talk about stunts. Let's talk about stunts.
I mean, I think probably fair to say is if you've played any role-playing game before, you're going to be fairly familiar with the mechanics. You're going to have you've got to score for certain things. You've got to roll dice to achieve certain stuff. So probably most of it, if you've played any role-playing game before, you've got the idea. It varies across so many different games, and you and I together we've played
quite a few
different games with different groups, and sort of each time obviously got its own set of rules. So I don't think that's a problem. It's stunts.
It's stunts. It's basically this is a pool dice game, but you don't build a pool. you've got the same pool. It's kind of like in between, so it's not as swingy as D&D, I think, because you've got 3d6 that you're rolling.
Yeah.
But you've got red dice, or in my case, I would think red. You've got two colours of dice. So you get 3d6 that you roll. One is a different colour to the others, and that's your stunt dice. And basically, if you roll doubles, you get stunts, and the different coloured dice, the colour of that, the number on that dice defines how many stunt points you get. Now, if this is starting to sound complicated, that's the problem. And it delivers some awesome moments.
Yeah.
But you've got a game that's built around flavour and the story and all this stuff, and then you roll a dice and you go, oh, hang on, I've got some stunt points, and you find yourself in this position where suddenly your player is going, I've got to find the sheet, and they find the bit in the book. You could photocopy those out, which we've talked about, and that would make it a lot easier, to be honest. You really need to if you're going to go down that route. And then it's almost like a menu. You know, people are going, right, okay, now for this type of situation, it's a gun stunt, and then I've got these different number of points, and what will fit. And the great thing about it is you get very epic cinematic moments out of it. So you get people spraying the room, you get people, not with the guns, okay, sorry. you get people, convincing the crowd and winning them over, you get all those things. But the problem is there's just so many to choose from that you kind of have these moments of kind of one person looking at the menu and everybody else going, come on, make your choice, we've already decided what we want to do.
I think it's also that thing, depending on the individual situation, it would be like walking into a restaurant and going, right, here's a Chinese menu, here's a curry menu, here's a Thai menu. So first of all, you've got to pick your menu, and then you've got to pick what you want from it. So
it's a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah, I think there is a few of the menus, as we're referring to them, that potentially overlap.
Yeah.
So you can actually find your time going, right, okay, I'm going to look through this menu, don't really like anything on there, so you end up looking for the other one, and as you say, and everybody else is sort of twiddling their thumbs waiting for you to make your mind up. Which I think the stunts, I think, just it slowed it down. In our first session we had one book.
That was tough.
The second session we had 2 books, and it was actually quite handy because if 2 things were going, 2 of you rolled, 2 of you like run into a room and shot or something like that. 2 of you could be picking your stunts, and that while that's all going on, so it made it easier. But it kind of, it's like putting it on pause. It's like pausing it to go and get a cup of tea.
So you've got this really wonderful, rich world that you're inhabiting, and you do inhabit it. You do get really into it, and then you roll some dice, and suddenly you're in the room playing a game again. Just for a minute, and then you pick out something awesome, and then you're back in the room. You're back into the game again. You go, oh look, they're doing this, and it's great, and that's awesome. You kind of want to lose that, but it just needs to be. I think
it just needs to be quicker.
It needs to be quicker. So for me, the one bit of advice I would give is, having played this a few times now, personally I would say, I'm coming down the route of players pick a menu that they have got stunts for. And they can only use stunts if they're appropriate to that situation, just to streamline it a little bit, because it's that thing about, you want the game to become intuitive at some point on every level, and at that point it's not intuitive. It's good, it's not a terrible thing, but it's just restricting what would be really it restricts it from being a really, really good experience.
I think that was like when we were talking earlier, we said sort of, there is also things like in this game, my particular character is quite an affluent kind of upper class person. He wouldn't know how to break someone's weapon. He wouldn't know how to grapple somebody. Okay, there is the element of he might get lucky.
He could get very lucky.
As I said, my character's rich, he has people to do that for him. And then you've got we had our friend James, who was playing sort of what we call the brute, the muscle. So he's more likely to have a gun stunt, whereas mine's more likely to be social interaction. So you can actually reward individual people, and I think you referred to it as giving them, each person their moment to shine.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think that's the thing, is that because you're always rolling exactly the same number of dice, the Brit could come into a social situation and could suddenly become the most incredible orator ever, just because he rolls the right number of because he's got as much chance of that happening as your political guy.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I don't know, it just doesn't feel, it feels like the least polished bit of the game.
Yeah.
It feels like they didn't want to leave anything out, so they put it all in, which is great in one level, but sometimes less is more. You know, sometimes it's like, just a little bit less would have made it better.
It almost gives everybody the skill set. It's our group. We've got the Affluent, we've got a pilot, we've got a hacker, and we've got a brute. But as you say, my guy's probably sort of never really used. He's used a computer, but he wouldn't have hacked something. Actually, has as much chance of hacking the space station system as the hacker.
Now we may be
if I get stuck,
we may be misreading this. I think.
Well, you're the GM, so
I'm the GM. I'm meant to know what I'm doing. But hey, but the other side of the thing is, I mean, it could be as simple as saying, you know what, you can only get a stunt point if that aspect's really easy. Maybe this is in there. Maybe we've misread something. But if you roll your dice and you succeed, which I think it is. So it's maybe a bit misleading to say they can always get it, but it is that sort of sense of, to do awesome, you kind of want it to be a little bit more specialised. You want it to be a lot. I don't know. It's, for me, I think that's the way to go. Is just say, right, you pick out one menu, partly because it will get your players to be a bit more believable, or your characters to be a little bit more believable, not your players. But also it'll mean that it's a bit more manageable, so you're looking at one thing and you can get to know it. And maybe then whenever you go up in XP, maybe you go up, you know, maybe that's something that you can get a second one, you know, so it'd be a house rule thing to do. But yeah. Right, looking at our notes. Luck and fortune.
Yeah.
Fortune was something that we talked a bit about, and I was really surprised whenever we played this. I think it's because it's quite an unusual mechanic. Fortune lets you re-roll and lets you do a variety of different things, but also it's kind of your hit points, kind of.
Yeah.
So you can burn through it to make things happen, but there's going to be a price if you hit combat. And I guess maybe it was just that we weren't focusing on that element of the game, because you can, the first couple of times you play with a party, you don't want to overload them with, oh, there's this bit, there's this bit, there's this bit, because people just go, I can't remember all that.
Yeah.
But it's one of those mechanics that I think has got potential as people get more familiar with it to give some really interesting moments.
Yeah.
Because now that we're more familiar with just how brutal it is, having a couple of extra fortune may not increase your chances of survival that much.
I think possibly it's more down to the inexperience of the players than anything.
Yeah.
But it introduces it's luck.
Yeah.
It's luck management.
Yeah.
And I think I think it's really good. So if you don't spend any, you might survive the first pistol shot. You're not going to survive the second one.
Yeah, you're gonna struggle. It's depending on who it is that's shooting at you and what they're shooting with. But you know, you've got It's a funny one. I like the mechanic. I really do like the mechanic. I think it's one of those mechanics. You just go, yeah. I can see people really enjoying that or really regretting it.
I certainly think sort of now we've kind of been exposed to it a bit more. It's certainly something that I'm going to use, particularly the bad dice roll, which you've seen my dice. Yeah, you've seen my dice, and
it's whenever you put them in jail and there's like a pile over the side.
I kind of break them out of jail to use them, to be honest. But I think that. It's really nice that it's not just hit points. It kind of reflects the luck. So without giving, I'm not going to refer to anything from the series, but is that traditional thing. Yeah, the guy gets winged in the arm
Yeah.
and he carries on. And that's what your fortune is. Your fortune is, okay, yes, you got shot, but it's just a flesh wound.
Yeah.
Or it's a
Thanks for not
nick.
doing the voice.
Yeah. But it's just a nick, and actually it's more the fortune. So that when you do get shot by something big, that's it. It's brutal. It's fast. It's over.
Yeah.
And I think it reflects it more that way, rather than the chipping away of the hit points to bring them down. And
maybe that's the reason for the stunts being so many of them, is because otherwise the combat was over in like 20 seconds. You know what I'm saying? It's just
I think
it's gone now, right? Okay, now move to the next room.
I mean, the particular scenario I'm going to refer to was within here, but not within here. Is we burst into a room.
Yeah.
There was some people in the room, and our brute unloaded.
They all died.
And they all died. I'm kind of harking back to stunts again, but yeah, he did that with the stunt. Cinematically, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
But it also, I said it did show how brutal it was, but it also shows that if you don't manage your luck.
Yeah. Yeah.
The NPCs can roll stunts as well, as far as I understand it.
Yeah.
So the guy shooting at you might turn around and shoot all three of you in one go, and we all go home early.
I'm not sure about that. I need to check that, because I assumed they couldn't, because I was being a nice GM for a change.
Yeah.
But
effectively, you can, under certain circumstances, one shot and you are out the game.
Yeah.
And I think that also lends itself more to sort of more role playing kind of things, because maybe you want to avoid combat.
Yeah.
And B, it scares you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, and it
whoa, those are powerful guns.
it makes you sick, but it also then makes you, I think, more invested in your character.
Yeah.
D&D, you can last sort of 6 hits, whatever, before you're unconscious, and then you're still not dead.
Yeah. Not so much.
Anybody who survives 6 hits in this is either got lots of fortune, or the DM's rolling really, really badly.
I've just remembered one bit in the game which involved a taser as well. That was, yeah, stunts and tasers. That was awesome.
I think it depends on which end of the taser you were on, to be honest. But
there was a bit, without going into it too much, there was a bit where somebody was tasering somebody, and I kind of decided in my head that if they want to knock this guy, whenever the taser did not completely knocked out necessarily, if they want to knock him out, they're going to have to punch him, kind of thing. But then I wanted to check. Now, if they do it with bare hands and they're being tasered, my understanding is, if the guy's being tasered, my understanding is they're going to get tasered, they're going to get a shock as well. And that would be awesome. And they didn't fall for it. I was really gutted with that. But that was the house rule. I don't know if it's the real thing. It seemed to make sense to me.
University education wasn't wasted, was it?
It's like electricity.
Yeah.
But I'm going to pause here a minute, and so just so you're not completely freaked out, we had to pause the video, so it blacked out, but we're back. Yeah. We were going to swap seats, but then we thought, some of you watch this late at night, it's probably not a good idea. It's just not very nice. So, introduction mission.
Yeah. We
are not going to give any, if there's anything that is going to be a spoiler, the rules are we're going to say spoiler, okay?
Yeah.
And then we're going to go, so we're going to try not to do that because it's kind of disturbing. So, how did you find it as a player? How did you find it as a player?
We did it in 2 sessions.
Yeah.
Again, try not to give everything away. The first session was we were pretty much in one place.
Yeah.
And then the second session we were in another place.
Yeah.
The first session was very much the role playing side of it.
Yeah. Quite a bit of investigation. isolation days.
And I think part of that was also down to the fact that we were trying to introduce our new characters to each other and giving an idea of who we are, rather than sort of sitting there going, my name's Bob, I'm an affluent person, my skills are doing this. We tried to engage in sort of like the bit of the role playing thing, and we didn't know where anybody was from either. So whether they were an Earth or a Belt or a Martian. So we were saving up our prejudice as well to see who we were going to annoy.
Yeah, and also we go to 1066 Wargame Club. I have to shout out to that, which is a big club. And it means that whenever you do a game like this, there's going to be people who are acquaintances and people who you know well. Yeah. And actually, that first session in a club environment where it's not the same bundle of mates play games every week, it's slightly different. So it always feels a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's like warming up to the party.
James, our brute, I've not played any games or board games, role playing or war games. I've not played anything with him, so it was, for me, I didn't know him, didn't know his character, so I think it also gave us a chance to find out each other's style as well, because you get people who will role play and they do the silly voices, and
which is a bit embarrassing if they're the only person.
And that is the point. That if they are the only person, and then you've got the other people who are perhaps are they new, are they a bit shy, and they're sort of rather than sort of role playing anything, they're very much my character walks across to the computer. Rather than role playing anything. And I think it gives you a chance to kind of find your feet. The second session became quite combat heavy as well, and I don't know whether that was as a result of our decisions or whether it's deliberate. But I think as an introduction point, it's quite good, because you've got your role playing bit, you've got your combat bit, and I don't know what's coming next.
Haven't decided yet.
I don't know if that was the whole introductory mission, or whether there is more on it within the book.
Not within the book.
Right, okay.
But there are hooks that may or may not be followed.
So I think probably as an introductory mission goes, it's probably quite good, because it does give you a chance to, I think, experience everything across the board that the game has to offer. So you're role playing your political element, which features so heavily in the series as well. And then obviously the chance to then experience sort of the combat on a continuous scale. I mean, I think I personally thought there was a bit too much in it. It's not a criticism of you. No. I think when we were talking earlier, you said it could easily have become a bit like your space help, move your miniatures room to room and shoot, because you shoot the enemies, rather than any actual role playing element of it. So it could have easily become like a war game at that point.
It was a natural. The thing about it was funny, because there's a natural break in the mission, or in that comes at a point, and as you know when it is, you can see when it is. But the problem is, then it becomes very much more action based, for want of a better word. And it does feel like two distinct sessions to some extent. But whenever we played it, it was interesting, because the second sort of bit was a little bit short for what I wanted for the session we had, which is why I improved and introduced some dastardly deeds. And that was the bit where there was a bit of, I tried to get some role playing into it, but that, I would say, one of the things from just purely from a GM point of view, this is not it's not a game you're going to just go, you know what, I'm going to open this up and I'm going to play the one at the back and just start everybody off, and it's going to be a dawdle to do that. It's going to be going lift it and just go for it. You need to think about it. You need to actually sit down and work at it a little bit beforehand, because it's a little bit clunky, I would say, for the GM. There are better written ones, but actually the story is very good, that it follows and it fits the universe. And actually, it does feel a little bit clunky whenever you're trying to work it out. And then then there comes a point where it just clicks into place. Know what's happening now. I know what I'm going to be doing. Okay, right, that's okay. Now that might be because I'm not that bright, which is you know, I'm not a very experienced GM. I'm learning how to do it. And actually coming back, that was something we said earlier on. I don't think we said it in the video. This is not the game that you would pick for somebody who's just starting.
This is not your first role-playing game.
No.
I think that it's going to rely heavily on the GM's preparation as well. We're talking about the stunts.
Yeah.
I think we've clearly established now that we need some handouts. Which involves preparation, and some GMs do, some GMs
you can't
don't.
rock up with this.
No, and I think also things like throwing in the stunts as well. Again, the GM's got to know what they're doing. And I think because of the elements within the game, the political elements.
Yeah.
If you're going to encourage role playing, you've got to be able to. You've got to be confident in yourself to engage with that and to run that. You can run a D&D game that is hack and slash, murder hobo, and you can run that for an infinite number of sessions, and people will get on board and they'll love it. We've established that this is not. And I think that if you are an inexperienced GM, it's not one to kind of start out.
Don't cut your teeth on.
No.
Because the thing I found, which I was really surprised at, because you know, the Expanse is one of those things that people know about, and in our culture, you know, and you know what I'm saying. Basically, the nerds and the geeks of the world, and I don't know which one's which. So please don't comment about that. But that we know about it, but it's actually surprising whenever you discover there are people who are really into it. Because I was sort of like reading the books and getting into the books and watching the series. I know I have watched them a couple of times now, and I quite enjoy it. You know, I enjoy it, and I love the books, and I've read them carefully. I'm a slow reader, so it takes time, and it's brilliant. And I would say I knew quite a lot about it, and then suddenly, you know, in your hometown, there's some people who seriously know a lot about this and know a lot about this universe and really love this world. As a GM, that's actually quite intimidating in some ways, because you feel as if you've got to get it right, because it's something that's precious to people, something that they value, and you don't want to mess around with that lightly. So it is one of those ones. I think you have to have a good knowledge of the universe, because it's got books and series at the same time that are the books are being released, a bit like Game of Thrones, I suppose. It's that sort of feel of actually people know this thoroughly. You know, this is a big bit of their life, of their leisure time, and it's.
But I would say before sort of what we did the session, I didn't even know there were books of it.
Yeah.
So my exposure was literally the television show.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think it's less open to interpretation.
Yeah.
You've got many different role-playing games out there that allow you to interpret it. You can create your own world. Yeah. And you know, we'll avoid talking about the wormhole with that one. Yeah. But you can create your own world, and you can populate it and deal with it how you. This, I think, because of the IP, the intellectual property, for those who don't speak geek, because of the IP, it actually kind of restricts you, I think, in a little way. So, as you say, if you've got somebody who's heavily into it, you probably as a GM you do feel that pressure.
It's brilliant. And it's terrifying. Yeah. It's kind of like one of those things. You just go, okay, right, we've got to get this right. So it's like, it's a fascinating one. I mean, the thing I would say, just while we're on that, is as a one big sort of alarm bell for people who haven't read all the books. If you're only up to the TV series, if you pick this up as a GM, I would encourage you to read book 5 before you read it. Because there's spoilers in the book that aren't necessarily highlighted as spoilers in some of the little vignettes. Either that, or they do vignettes of the lead characters in the book. Just don't read them. You know, until season 5 comes out, and then read them all you like, because they're brilliant. But it was kind of I was reading book 5 whenever I started to look at this, and went, hang on, I can't read that page. No, I can't read that page. So it's just a heads up really on that one, but it is a funny one with this. I think you're right, you're restricted in that world, but actually it's such a big, it's a big world, but it's got very clear rules about it. That, you know, this is how the OPA relate, this is how Earth relates, this is how Mars relates, and that those are a big feature of that world. Yeah, and I think one of the things I find quite interesting, and I mentioned this to you when we were chatting, was there's a couple of pages that say, if you want it to feel like the Expanse, here are some things you need to get. Now, in some ways, actually, you think, oh, for goodness sake, I know the books, I know what we're talking about here, but actually having them written down, and you go, right, actually, that's really helpful. It's things like, you know, people are capable of the most brilliant thing, and most brilliant things and the most terrible things. Knowledge is power. You know, just little snapshots, little sort of catchphrases that you keep in your head as a GM to make it feel like the proper, which I have to say was very valuable. But as the missions, I think what I would say is that be prepared. First of all, as GM, be really prepared for what you're doing, but also don't be afraid of, I guess, you know, every party, I know this is hard to believe, parties are not going to do what you want them to do.
Oh, yeah, no.
They're not going to do it. But, you know, that's not the end of the world, because there are some things that you can do and some tricks, and actually we might do a video on some tricks that you can do in the Expanse that make it, as a GM, a little bit more fun, give you a little bit of wiggle room, shall we say. But yeah, don't be afraid of your party going off on a tangent, because they're going to do that anyway. But you know,
I think it's hard. I think it's harder to make it like the typical dungeon where you go in and you've got the one route through, like most video games or something like that. It's much harder because particularly with the first session, which we've
much more
no
political.
spoilers, which is political, and it's an investigation, so
Yeah.
which kind of gives you a chance to actually get to know each other a little bit better as well.
You guys, it was like herding cats, to be honest. But
it's. Yeah, you might think to yourself, oh, it's great, you know. And this is purely an example. This is not actually in the adventure. Somebody's been shot, and there's a picture of their brother, on the side. So the first thing they're going to do is go and find the brother. So you're all prepared for them to go and do that. Actually, no, they're going to run off and find out where they worked or something like that.
They're going to go every random.
Yeah.
So there are points that, short of having it neon glowing across, it was like, hello, look over there, look over there.
We never claim to be the brightest group, let's put it that way. But
it's the accent.
I think it is much harder to railroad is the phrase, but it's much harder to railroad them. And I think particularly with sort of slightly off a tangent. We were talking about character creation earlier.
Yeah.
And how it is, which you said was not going to go into on camera, but you end up with your character, and you've actually got your own kind of motivation.
Yeah.
And that gets brought into the game.
Yeah.
So you can succeed at the big mission, but do you succeed at your little mission as well? So do you win or do you extra win? And again, I think you kind of created the thing for my character that he's looking for his brother.
Yeah.
It's kind of taking a little bit of a back seat at the moment.
Yeah.
But it also fits with why we were looking at stuff.
And it was why you were a party. With your characters, like, oh, I'm looking at these guys. That's one thing. If you want it believable, why are Earthers, Belters, and Martians in one party? Think about it. Because you've got to have a reason in this universe that I am, because they don't want to do that.
Generally, it's money.
Yeah, generally, and that's your character.
My character is basically just money.
It's just.
I'm like Tony Stark, just without all the gadgets. I think that's quite nice because again you can bring a sort of personal element in, but it also makes it harder to railroad them, because if they suddenly sort of get the bright spark idea that apparently the street urchin that's got nothing to do with any of this might have some news on where their brother is because they know all the lowlifes and start chasing them through the town. Are you ready for that? And is that,
I'm just remembering a Tales from the oh, right, I've got to say this because of start. Tales from the Loop. I think it was the first session we did. It involved pigeons, and there was a pigeon that you guys decided to put in a box and carry it around for no reason whatsoever.
I think it was a dead pigeon.
It was a dead pigeon. It was a dead pigeon. It was carried around for it. This is obviously something to do with the mystery. No, it's just a dead pigeon.
Yeah. But we were convinced. This pigeon was important.
There were dice rolls and everything going on. It was like,
and to be fair to Neil's character, if it wasn't important, it was going to be lunch. So
yeah, that was his character. Yeah, but it is that thing, isn't it? That actually those red herrings are what. But that's a memorable moment, and it's actually being. That's okay. You know, go for it. Those silly, random things that we do in this world, because we're developing our own image of what the world works like. It will take time for it to come to a sort of agreed sort of set of rules, but also it's never going to be identical. That's what makes it fun, and that's what it makes it, from a GM point of view, both terribly frustrating, but also incredibly good fun, because you've no idea what people are going to do, and that's actually, you know, roll with it, enjoy that, you know.
And I think also, particularly if you are playing, I mean, on the front, I mean, on the front cover here, you know, we've got the Earthers, the Belters, and the Martians. So if you are playing according to your particular element, then you can also find people bringing that in. And again, it comes back to that mature bit as well, and the prejudice, which obviously is never good, but you're playing a game. But I know my character, if it comes down to a choice between sacrificing the Martian brute or finding my brother.
Oh, bye.
I hope James isn't watching this. By James's character, and
good luck getting rid of him. He's scary.
There's a reason why he's a brute. But you can bring that element in, and I think that also if somebody decides to move on from your campaign, it actually gives the GM a chance to use that as a plot hook. Obviously, you kind of got to do it with consent. You can't just take over someone's character, but you can kind of use that as the plot hook. You know, is there going to be a betrayal? Is your belter actually a member of the OPA? You can do so. You can actually do so much with it, and you can actually set this up right from the beginning. You could have your belter as a member of the OPA, or somebody who's in your group.
Or particularly, like Black Sun's a really nasty faction that are.
You could request that player doesn't tell anybody that they're a member of the OPA, which comes back to having your main mission up here and then your little sort of sub mission underneath. So I think it could create some amazing scenarios.
I think because it is so, you know, such a rich world, there's so many bits you can do around that, and actually that's the thing. I've noticed this. You know, it's the TV series has got incredible periods of there's action, but then it's long periods of character development, and actually the two kind of interweave a lot, and this does that quite well actually. Thinking about it, it does feel like the Expanse, and it feels like it should do. I think it probably in my head it feels a little bit more like the book, purely because of the pictures. I know that sounds ridiculous, but the pictures are of different people to the TV series, so therefore it's more like the book in my mind. I'm a simple soul, but you know, I like that. I think, but I think in terms of where we would go next, one of the nice things about it is that this idea of people drifting in and out, the reality is because we've mentioned this before, because we're in a large club, and any group of players, getting everybody on the same night can be a real challenge. But actually, this, because of the way it works, I think it's quite possible for people to jump ship for a couple of missions, come in again, much like in the books. So in the books you've got Robbie Draper who appears a bit, then disappears for a while, and then reappears for a bit. And actually, that feels very much like the universe that this is in. That you've got a core, they stay as the core, and then you've got people who come in and shine very brightly for a period of time, and then they're out again for a bit, and the core are always there, and they shine every now and again, but it's not that people don't get a chance to. It's not that people are clingers on in that sense. It's not that there's a clique and people are trying to get into it. It's just people can't always make every night.
Well, we've already had that with the second session. We were joined by somebody and actually brought in a skill base that we particularly needed for that. And if they didn't carry on with the next session, we not to say we wouldn't miss them, but their skill set isn't vital to that. Yeah, you can. There's ways around things. Yeah. So I think you do need about 3 players, realistically. But after that, you can normally work around things. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to say, and I think also because from what I've learned, and you might correct me on this, the character advancement is very different as well. Again, we'll hark back to D&D because most people know D&D. You kill something, you get your experience points, you go up a level. You don't really go up levels in this. No. So if you do dip in and out, you're not prejudicing your character by, and you're not going to end up so much weaker than all of the others and unable to dish out the large damage or do all the amazing stunts or anything else like that. Because the gun still hits a bit like a gun. Gun still hits like a gun. It does the same damage, but it doesn't change it. You're not prejudiced. There's no disadvantage to dropping out for a couple of sessions and then coming back in, and suddenly you're not suddenly behind everybody else in the character development. So actually, it gets quite nice. And your character's going to have a pretty unique set of skills to the party. There'll be some things that will overlap, but actually, you're still going to be the person who does that best. Yeah, that's the bottom line. You're always going to be the person who does what you do best as a character. But yeah, so as an overall, I would. It's a good game. I liked it. It's one that I think is good for campaign play because there's a lot that you can in the book. There's actually a lot of background that you can build on and you can develop, and there's lots of you just find yourself full of ideas, and there's a good section that helps you to get some hooks as well in the book. You will need to work at it as a GM. You will need to work at it as a player, I would say, as well, but it will reward it. It's like coffee and wine, I suppose. The first time you think, I'm not so sure about that, and then after a bit, we had different upbringings. No, but you know what I mean. It's that sort of. It's good. Yeah. It'll improve. It'll keep. You just feel as if actually, the more you play it, some games you sort of go, right. I've played it now. Great. I've played that. I don't think I'm going to play it again, because it's not really got anywhere to go. Yeah. This I think has got, it's got legs. There's a big universe out there that it works in, and this is just pre-gate from what I can remember. It just goes up to the gate formation, so it goes up as far as you do. I think it also is it encourages you to interact with each other. So it encourages the role playing. So you actually, not to say they're building friendships between the players, but also sort of between sort of the characters. So you do kind of become a bit more invested in each other's character and how they work. Yeah. And so I think that again lends itself more to a campaign. Yeah. And again, sorry to refer to D&D again, but everybody's got their particular roles in D&D, sort of someone's a fighter, a cleric, or something. And actually, that's often the defining element about them. Yeah. What is their job? And actually, in this, it isn't necessarily what is their job. It's what's your story. It's what your story. And actually, at one point you might be the most unimportant at the time the most unimportant person because you can't necessarily do something. And then the next session, you become the most important one. Yeah. If you are in the middle of nowhere and someone's trying to and you're in combat, your pilot can become the most important person,
Yeah.
because if nobody else can fly the ship, it doesn't matter whether you defeat everybody. You can't then escape for what it is. So yeah, the pilot might seem a bit of a humdrum role. You're the taxi driver.
So you become you can sort of, I'm going to be a second rate,
Yeah.
whatever else, and then I'm a pilot. Actually, in this one, it becomes very critical at a certain point.
Yeah. That if they're dead, well,
Bye.
bye. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I like it. I think it's good. Now we do a lot of role playing games on the channel, and this is the shameless plug. If you would like, I think actually we will do next week. I think so. Next Saturday, I'll try to get one out for hints for DMs on this, and what you can sort of do, what you can do that makes it a lot bit easier to run as a DM. These are not. There's people on this. It's really to get a conversation started. There's people on this channel, or people who watch this channel, who are much more experienced DMs than I am. But basically, it's just to get the conversation started. And these are the things I found, and as ever, please comment below. But if you don't want to miss those, the easiest way to do that is to subscribe. And somewhere, I can never remember what side. That side, it might be down here, or it might be down here.
Yeah.
There is a button that you can press, which means you subscribe, and it'd be great to have you on board. And also, we are completely independent. So anything you see on this screen is something we bought with our own hard-earned pennies, and as a result, we're always
We're poor.
but hopefully it's authentic. So what we say is kind of the truth. Is there's no spin on it. It's what we think. But we have got some T-shirts to help us to fund our habit. So if you want to buy a T-shirt, there's a link down below, and a lot of that money will go to keeping the channel fluid with stuff. And at some point we have to update the camera, and possibly get a microphone, because it would be good. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, and as ever, have a lovely evening, and see you again. Good night.